there's one thing that we're not sure how good is the New Jersey Devils goaltending. Is the New Jersey Devils goaltending good enough to win a Stanley Cup?
I'm gonna say no. Best case scenario for them is they get to the second round.
So, kind of looking at the stats right now, you got Jake Allen, 9 games played, 6-2 record, 2.29 goals against average, 914 save percentage. They did play tonight and win, so I don't think these stats are. Did they? I think they won tonight, right? Or did they lose to the? No, they lost in overtime to the Islanders. That's right, because they tied it up late. So so you know, who was in net for them? Sorry, I'm gonna just gonna quickly check stat check. So Markstrom was in net, so he continues. So he continues his around 875 save percentage. So his numbers will be somewhat similar. So 9 games played for Allen, 6-2 record, 2.29 goals against average, 914 save percentage. Now Markstrom's record is 6-4-3, probably around the same stats because he had 875 in that one. So probably like what 872, 873 save percentage, and like I'll say 3.80 goals against average. I'm
the booty.
You know, Markstrom's one of these goalies that can be hot and cold, and I thought getting him from Calgary was going to be a good move. It's early in the season. You're hoping he can turn things around. Maybe having a tandem with Allen could be a good thing. It kind of, like Jake Allen. Listen, I'm never going to sit here and say like Jake Allen's an elite level goaltender, but to be fair to him, he's had a good little career here, and has managed to, carve himself out a pretty damn role as like a hybrid starter / backup. It's kind of impressive. He went to St. Louis, went to Montreal, then went to I think New Jersey. I think that was all the stops in his career. He's managed to kind of carve out a nice little spot here in New Jersey, and I just. It's hard for me to believe in a team when Jake Allen is going to have to be your number one, and I don't know if I believe in Markstrom as the guy.
You say if Markstrom keeps kind of dropping the ball, does this open the door for Nico Dawes?
Potentially. I don't know. It's like with all that money tied up in.
But I mean, okay, granted, you got the AAV that's all wrapped up, but what if Nico Dawes comes in there and then, spot starts, does good? Say the kid gets around a 900 save percentage, gives up, 2.5 goals a game, and looks better than Markstrom. What do you do? That puts Devils ownership in a bad spot because you've dumped all this money into Markstrom, but yet he's not as good as the kid that you're probably paying less than $1 million a year for.
So the good thing with Markstrom is this is the last year of his deal, right?
If he keeps playing like this, it's a safe bet he will not.
No, never mind. Didn't they extend him? UFA 28. So let me double check that. I think it's the last year of. Yeah, no, he signed a 2-year extension. I hate all these ads on this website. Yeah, he signed a 2-year extension on October 31st. That's right. He just signed that. For 2 years, $6 million per year. So I think they'll be regretting that.
No givebacks.
But so that's, I don't know, man. What's Jake Allen's deal here? He expires in 30. Oh, that's right, because they just signed him. But they signed him to a cheap deal.
Yeah.
Like a cheap deal. That's kind of crazy.
That is that's a bit of a head scratcher.
No, like the Jake Allen thing, I can whatever, because it's a cheap 1.8, like that's a cost control backup.
Yeah.
But why would you also extend? I don't know.
Well, here's the thing:
do they just not believe in Dawes?
I guess not. Well, what kind of position is it going to put the Devils' ownership in if Markstrom's just kind of flames out and Jake Allen becomes the guy, Nico Dawes becomes the backup? You got a $6 million AHL guy up in Albany playing for the AHL.
So this is the interesting thing here, right? Just kind of going into Dawes stats. Let's kind of see here. Utica this year, he's playing phenomenal. 942 save percentage, 1.51 goals against average. He did well in his one start this season with the Devils. Last year with the Devils, he played pretty well in some spot time. With Utica, kind of a substandard stats, and then with Dawes, when he had a little bit more of a sample size, and Jersey the year before, it was kind of meh. Maybe Dawes could just be. It looks like Dawes is kind of a tweener. I don't know, even some of his AHL stats aren't necessarily like amazing. But I mean, kind of going. Sorry, I just wanted to go down that wormhole. But going back to, I don't think their goaltending is good enough right now. I think they have everything. Some people are like, oh my god, the Devils are so good. Devils got so injured last year, like it should have been expected they were going to be good this year if they stayed healthy. They have a great hockey team up front, on the back end. But I think Jake Allen's obviously played really well, and I think it would be a cool story if he could really just have a absolute heater of a year. But it's kind of hard to rely on a guy like Jake Allen and expect him to help win you a Stanley Cup. I mean, crazier things have happened. I mean, we saw Vegas win a cup with their fourth goalie in the rotation.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's unprecedented, but
and who's not to say, Jake Allen just doesn't go on a hell of a run the rest of the year, wins 30, 35 games, maybe gets a little sniff of the Vezina consideration.
I mean,
but
Devils fans are crazy.
Oh my god, they'd be fucking just jumping out of their skin. But then, as good as that is for the Devils, it's also shitty for the Devils, because then what do you do with a $6 million pile on in Markstrom?
Eat that contract and enjoy it, or trade him to a team.
Out?
No one's gonna buy that out. I don't believe.
No one's gonna pay. I mean, the Devils would have to buy it out and release him,
or they would have to trade him and retain half of his cap.
Oh, but who's gonna take it?
Some team.
Edmonton?
Toronto? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think there's some teams that would probably take us, like, if they could get him for half price, if he keeps struggling, they'd be like, oh, maybe a new scenery could work. I mean, I think Markstrom's probably better than Skinner. I mean, I don't know.
I would take Markstrom over Skinner.
I mean, I would take. I'm actually not going to say that because it's going to get me banned on YouTube. Anyways,
moving on.